Hello and welcome. You're watching our continuous coverage on the state of Nepal right now. Our neighbor, the escalation of violence against political figures has taken a sinister turn. Very dangerous where things stand in Nepal. That will be one of our top stories right here on India Today. Good evening, I'm Preeti Chaudhary.
Hello everyone, I'm Maria Shakil. Our second story will be the developments with regards to the vice presidential polls. Of course, the polling is over. Now all eyes are on counting. Is it almost like a foregone conclusion here, Preeti, that C.P. Radhakrishnan is going to be the next vice president?
Well, you're right there because the numbers are stacked up where the NDA is concerned. But first up, viewers, all eyes right now trained on the chaos that prevails in Nepal. But first up, allow us to take you through the headlines.
Chaos prevails on the streets in Nepal. President and Prime Minister resign from post. Protesters take out victory march in Kathmandu. Nepal Parliament and Presidential Palace set ablaze, several ministers and their spouses targeted.
Back home, the Ministry of External Affairs asks Indians to defer travel plans to Nepal, issues helpline numbers for Indians stranded in Nepal. MEA asks them to stay indoors and exercise caution.
Voting ends for vice presidential elections. About 97% of MPs cast their votes, and now the counting has begun. All eyes are on who will be the next vice president. It is all set to be NDA's C.P. Radhakrishnan.
Prime Minister's aerial survey of flood-affected regions in Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. Prime Minister Modi reviews the relief efforts in both the states and meets families of flood victims in Himachal.
It's a big and India Today exclusive. Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka D.K. Shiv Kumar at India Today's South Conclave claims that Dharmasthala case is an internal squabble between the BJP and the RSS.
Squabbling between the BJP and the RSS. I'm on record, 100% I'm record. If you want, I will give the documentation, I will give the statements, I will give the speeches of then the BJP president, the RSS leaders, all of them.
All right, the latest news is coming in from Nepal. We're going to focus right there. Anarchy right now rules the streets of Nepal. Viewers, what you see now, escalating violence on the streets of Nepal, especially against political figures, is taking a very dangerous, sinister turn. Protests for change have turned into abject chaos. This is not a protest. This is abject anarchy, where you have politicians, you have political leaders, their spouses now being attacked. The latest coming in, the news that is filtering in is highly disconcerting.
Yes, and Jhalanath Khanal, who was the Prime Minister of Nepal from February 2011 to August 2011, he was the chairman of the Communist Party of Nepal. His wife has been targeted. She was set ablaze, and what we can tell our viewers is that his wife passed away due to burn injuries. And that report coming in just few minutes ago. Remember, multiple politicians have been targeted in the last few hours, even as the report came in that the Prime Minister has resigned, the President has resigned of Nepal. So who really is in charge? Although this group, Preeti, which is the Youth Against Corruption, have been now appealing that there should not be violence in these protests, but they have much to explain, certainly.
Well, viewers, what you see right now prevailing in Kathmandu, in Nepal, this is not a peaceful protest or a protest anymore. Right now, it's anarchy which is reigning on the streets, chaos, complete abject political chaos on the streets of Kathmandu. You have political leaders, their spouses who are being attacked, beaten up. The wife of a former prime minister, let that sink in. The wife of a former prime minister has now died due to burn injuries because she was set on fire. This is a mob in a frenzy. There is no one leading it. There is zero communication. What we've been given to understand right now is that the prime minister, whose resignation has been accepted, is going to flee Nepal any time now. In terms of political leaders that have been attacked, that have come under attack, their families under attack, their houses have been ransacked, some of them burnt to ashes. Like we just pointed out there, former Prime Minister Khanal's wife is now dead because she was set on fire by this raging crowds that you see on your television screen. This is a mob right now baying for blood on the streets of Kathmandu. This is no longer a protest, viewers, especially a protest which was clearly hidden under the garb of Gen Z.
Yes, so this is not a revolution per se which is being led by the youth of Nepal. What is clear is that there is nightmarish scenes playing out on the streets of Kathmandu. Former Prime Minister Bahadur Deoba has been left severely injured. That is also, we are showing on our television screens. The question that we ask now is this anarchy in the name of revolution? We'll be joined by our reporters also from Kathmandu, also some protesters. Because who is in charge of Nepal right now? And what is going to be the transition like? Even as we discuss that, a statement has been issued by the Nepalese army. But first up, let me go straight to Birgunj, from where Rohit Singh joins us. Rohit, this is chaos. This is anarchy playing out in several parts of Nepal, not just Kathmandu. You are in Birgunj. That's also where chaos and also violence, which is evident in each and every nook and corner of the city.
Well, yes, this violence has been continuing for the last 24 hours in Birgunj, which is located on the Indo-Nepal border. And ever since yesterday evening, the violence started here in Birgunj. Curfew was imposed here for 12 hours from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. in the morning, and it was expected that the situation could improve a bit today in the morning after the curfew was, there was a relaxation in the curfew, but the situation only went out of hand, and all day throughout we saw that on the streets of Birgunj, several government properties were set on fire, several vehicles were set on fire, there were stones that were pelted at the police force, and also a lot of barricadings and government offices. The telecom office of Nepal, which is located in Birgunj, was also set on fire. So there was massive ruckus that was witnessed all day, and the police in fact could not do anything to control the mob which went on a rampage, vandalized properties. And as a matter, what we know that early in the morning the curfew was extended till 6 p.m. in the evening, but keeping in mind the violence that was reported today all throughout the day, now indefinite curfew has been imposed in Birgunj, which clearly goes on to show that
the escalation of violence against political figures, against institutions has taken a clear dangerous turn, what we are witnessing there. Number one, safeguard yourself. A lot of journalists also coming under attack. But Rohit, can you give us a sense, where is this headed right now? Because there is a section, there is no one heading this protest per se. It started off with many assumed to be organic, with lots of students coming in. Right now, the course is turned sinister, political figures being attacked. Who is now representing this mob frenzy which is reigning on the streets of Kathmandu at least?
Well, nobody is in control of the country at this point of time. The president has resigned, the prime minister has resigned, but several ministers have tendered their resignation. Several MPs of various political parties have also tendered resignation. But despite that, there is complete mayhem and chaos which is being witnessed both in Kathmandu as well as Birgunj and also in other parts of the country. And the question is as to why this is happening, even after Mr. Oli, the Prime Minister, has quit his post. it was expected that the situation would be brought under control, but that has not happened. The matter has only escalated, the situation has only escalated. And when we spoke to a lot of people today in Birgunj, they were saying that the resignation of the Prime Minister was not just enough, because keeping in mind the massacre that happened yesterday, what they are calling that 22 innocent lives were lost, who is responsible for that? And the local people are claiming that Prime Minister only resigned just to save his own life. But who will take care of the 22 lives that are lost, and who is responsible for that? And because of that massacre that happened on the streets of Kathmandu yesterday, we are seeing that the violence is unstoppable. And both in Kathmandu as well as Birgunj, other parts of Nepal, it's on a boil.
Yes, and reports that are coming in from Kathmandu in particular are very, very disturbing. Former Nepalese Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba and his wife, who was also the Foreign Minister of Nepal, Arzu Rana Deuba, were attacked by protesters amidst these protests, which are seen as anti-establishment or anti-government protests in Kathmandu. A mob, in fact, assaulted them at their residence, causing severe injuries. The Nepalese army intervened to rescue them as protesters had stormed their home. Videos, in fact, show that Deuba is bleeding and sitting helplessly after the attack. And the protests have also targeted other senior political leaders, with residences of ministers, former prime ministers being vandalized and set on fire.
Well, at one point, viewers, there was a certain amount of empathy and sympathy with the protesters on ground, where people in, the power of the people greater than people in power. But what you're seeing right now is anarchy at its worst. There is nobody heading this. There is mob frenzy. You can see the body of the former Prime Minister of Nepal, his wife. You can see the body of his wife laying on the ground. She was set on fire. She since has died, reports coming in. This is what it's come down to. Complete anarchy reigns on the streets of Kathmandu, of Nepal. What we did point out started off as something of Gen Z protesters, but right now, where you talk about the youth, you talk about influencers, Gen Z protesters that were very vocal as of till yesterday evening, where there were 22 youth who had died in the violence or in the clashes when the administration had opened fire on protesters. But that table has turned. Now the latest news coming in, Gen Z protesters who were part of an organic protest in Kathmandu, Nepal, have distanced themselves from the violence. They have issued out a statement. We want to strongly clarify that we, the Gen Z protesters, have retrieved from the protest sites. We are not associated with any individual or groups involved in vandalism or destruction of public property. Our movement does not welcome opportunists or political party members attempting to hijack or misrepresent our cause. We did not need them before, and we do not need them now. So a lot of youth, Maria, that we saw come out in large numbers, in thousands, on the streets of Kathmandu and other parts of Nepal, have now clearly withdrawn. They've given out a statement saying, this is not us. Not in my name. Don't pin this violence on us. Because right now, what is going on is completely insidious. That protest has since been hijacked, and something which Gen Z also now stating, withdrawing from it, issuing a public statement that we were there till yesterday. This is not us. What's happening right now is not us.
And what began as protests to ensure that the ban is lifted on social media platforms, it was also about corruption, massive corruption across the country. It was an anti-corruption movement, seen as anti-establishment or anti-government movement, has taken the sinister turn. And what is evident now is that there is nobody in charge of Nepal. The Prime Minister has resigned, the President has resigned, the army is also now appealing the protesters. Then who is it? Because the protesters who were supposed to be the Gen Z protesters, that's how this grouping had come together. They are saying that this is not happening in our name. So we should not be blamed for what is happening at present. Remember, this did not take this form till few hours ago. It has taken this form with multiple deaths being reported, with Prime Minister being targeted, former Prime Minister being targeted, ex-Prime Minister's wife burnt to death. All this is happening on the streets of Kathmandu even as we speak. But a quick wrap-up of top 5 developments. The Nepalese army has deployed helicopters to now airlift ministers and senior officials from several volatile areas in Kathmandu for their safety. Curfews have been imposed in Kathmandu and other key cities to restore order, with law enforcement agencies using water cannons and batons against protesters. Over 100 people so far, that is the estimate, Preeti, including journalists and police officers, were injured in these clashes, with several suffering critical gunshot wounds as well. So how did Nepal reach this stage, and what is it now that can be done? Because the reports that are suggesting coming in is also perhaps there is a name of the person who could be in charge or who could be given charge of the next interim government.
Because, you know, viewers, the name that Mario is talking about, which is echoing right now, seems to be that of the Kathmandu mayor, who'd been very openly supportive of the protests that have taken place. But what has also happened in the last few hours is a lot of the protesters, because it was projected as the Gen Z protest, youth taking to the street, clashing with the Nepalese government, have pulled back. They are saying this is not us. So if you're going to hear names echo on the streets of Kathmandu that we want this person to take over as the next Prime Minister of Nepal, where is it coming from? You know, that needs to be questioned as well. But yes, there is a section that sympathizes, empathizes with the Kathmandu mayor as being their representative. We're going to give you details of that. But very quickly before that, let's, Maria and I, quickly take you through the latest developments as they have taken place. And like we pointed out, with the attack on political figures, with the attack on political institutions, private institutions, the protest has taken a very violent, insidious, sinister turn. What would be the end result, viewers? Hark back to what happened in Bangladesh, very similar in nature. Hark back to what happened in Sri Lanka, very similar in nature. Is it the same playbook right now playing in Nepal? But let's take you through the latest developments there. Violent protests in Nepal intensifying on day 2, with demonstrators targeting homes of top political leaders nationwide. The situation in Nepal is deteriorating by the minute. Gen Z protesters have withdrawn from this protest. However, anarchists reign on the streets of Nepal, Kathmandu, setting buildings ablaze and attacking political leaders.
And the situation in Nepal is deteriorating by the minute, and as the reports are coming in that there are several government offices and buildings which have been set ablaze. The footage that you're seeing on your screens right now is of Kathmandu, where Nepal's law minister's residence was vandalized and set on fire. Protesters have set fire to Prime Minister KP Oli's private residence as well. Sources report large crowds gathered near the property, forcibly entering the premises before torching it. And amidst the chaos, looters took advantage of the unrest at a popular supermarket in Kathmandu, breaking in and stealing goods before fleeing the scene. President Ram Chandra Paudel, in fact, he witnessed demonstrators gathering outside the home in Baharatpur, where objects were thrown at the property. Protesters were also seen vandalizing the presidential residence and setting it on fire.
All right, viewers, we told you about what one name there that is echoing right now to take charge of Nepal, because who takes charge right now? Most protesters have said, in terms of the youth, the Gen Z, that this is not us. But there are still huge numbers out on the streets, and the name that is being echoed, the chorus growing for Kathmandu mayor for the next Prime Minister. Who is the Kathmandu mayor? Messages seeking Balen Shah to be made interim Prime Minister being circulated by protesters. Balendra Shah is currently serving as the 15th Kathmandu mayor. He's supporting protesters earlier. In many multiple tweets, he had said that one must empathize, sympathize with the young lot which is out in the streets, clearly angry over corruption, over the social media ban. The same Kathmandu mayor, Maria, had met the US ambassador to Nepal in 2024. Many also viewing him with suspect as possibly being a US stooge.
In fact, Preeti, Time magazine had named him among the top 100 emerging leaders, and that picture is of February 2024 when he met Dean Thompson, who was then the US ambassador to Nepal. He's a rapper turned politician and is the first independent candidate elected as Kathmandu's mayor. So what makes him popular is also his previous role as a rapper.
And he's technically young. So, you know, viewers, he's at about 31 years, born in 1990, so at about 35 years. And he wanted to be actually part of the protest. But if you remember earlier on, the protesters had set a limit of 28 years. And he did tweet out that I wanted to be part of the protest, but because there was an age limit, I didn't join the protesters. But the protesters need to be heard. They need to be listened to. His name right now growing in chorus from the protesters. But who are these protesters?
Yes.
Mind you, let's hark back. Just 20 minutes ago, a statement has come with many of the Gen Z groups that had come together in protest of the social media ban have now pulled back and saying, this is not us. This is something else. Our protest has been hijacked, completely taken over. Let's cut across right now, Maria, to our reporters on ground. Pankaj Das is joining us. Rohit Singh from Birgunj continues to be with us. Amit Bhardwaj is also joining us from Kathmandu. Amit, you are on the street. We're going to go across to Pankaj as well. But be safe. Lots of, complete chaos coming in. News of that. Political leadership being attacked. The wife of a former prime minister set fire, and the word coming in is she's passed away, she's dead. Amit,
yes,
it's for you.
Preeti, the situation on the ground is volatile to say the least. Yes, the situation on the ground is volatile to say the least. I have literally walked all across Kathmandu since morning from the parliament to the Gaushala area where you saw, large amount of smoke taking over the streets of the capital of Nepal, and eventually where the power corridors of Nepal used to be. I'm saying used to be because there's no functional government in place anymore. That is the Singh Darbar. It was set ablaze, and from Singh Darbar we had to actually run on our feet because suddenly there was sort of a panic that had struck, and everywhere, I'll just change the camera as well to give you as to what all are we witnessing on the streets right now. Every traffic police post in Kathmandu is being set on fire. Every barricade in Kathmandu is being set on fire, and because they are made of steel, because they're made of iron, what is being done by the protesters is that they're literally bringing petrol. They are bringing chairs, wooden plank, whatever they can get hold of to set things on fire. And this is Rato Pul, which we are crossing right now. This area also had house of a senior Nepali Congress leader that was taken over by the protesters, Gen Z protesters, and the army eventually came in to calm down the situation. There is one more difference that we have noticed since morning is that it has been largely the Nepal armed police force which had fired tear gas shells, shot gunfires as well. The army, for that matter, has remained, neutral, if we can use that word. I do not know whether that is the right term to be used in this particular context or not. Just for our viewers' understanding, in the morning what we saw was at the National Trauma Center, and right in front of the National Trauma Center is an army establishment. When the Gen Z protesters removed, they went inside the army establishment. The barricades that were put by the army was removed so that Gen Z protesters could actually take their route forward, and that's how things have unfolded. I'm actually crossing, taking an entire circle through the areas where I've seen violence unfolding through the day. This is the one of the most volatile areas. This shop has been put on fire. The situation is not good. The shop has been put on fire right behind me.
Amit,
this is
those shops, it's worrisome where you are. Amit, it's very worrisome where you are. You need to get yourself to safety immediately. Viewers, if you can actually see. Amit, over to you. I hope you're moving out of there. There are fires burning right behind where Amit's car is going through. Lots of protests, completely unregulated. Over to you, Amit. Yes?
Yes, Preeti. Our idea is to actually move to a safer location now because there are
Can we
no
go full
leaders
frame
of
with
this
Amit?
protest anymore. There are no groups which can actually coordinate and vehicles randomly being spotted, stopped, bikes being put on fire. So somebody needs to speak to the Gen Z protesters. They have achieved what they wanted to. At this point in time, it for our viewers as well, because it also took me a moment to understand, rather to realize or to seep in would be the right word to say, that there is literally no political establishment, no government in the
Amit, are you
country right
safe now? Are you in a
So
safer area?
who will control, who will speak? We are certainly trying to move to a safer area, Preeti. So there's a gentleman who agreed to actually drop us to a safer location where we are supposed to be, and he's trying his best to find out, navigate through the streets where the cars even are not supposed to be, but he has taken that risk to take us to a safer location.
Amit, you
We
get
did
there?
walk
We're going to
a
let you be.
lot in order to find our way out.
Okay, Amit, we're going to let you be. You get there safely, and we're going to be in touch with you. We're going to connect back to Amit Maria,
in a
but
bit.
let's quickly move on.
Let's move on to Pritha, who's joining us from Kathmandu, one of the Gen Z, and she herself is joining us from the airport, I believe. Pritha, are you okay? We'll be okay. We will be joined by her in just a bit.
We have Nisha Adhikari, I think. Do we have Nisha Adhikari?
I can
Nisha
hear
Adhikari.
you.
Okay, let's take her.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
Preeti, Disha Adhikari joins us. Disha, what kind of protests are these?
Well, to put it point-wise, this is a protest that has been held from a massive built-up of frustration amongst youths due to corruption mainly. So since the multi-party democracy has been induced to Nepal, we have had various stages and various, kind of governance in our country, and which has led to undisputable corruption in our country. So here comes Gen Z and says that we want to take, we want to be accountable for our own future, and we are done with corruption, and this is not how we want to stay in Nepal.
But Nisha, I understand all of that, but I'll tell you what, for somebody who was sitting on the outside till yesterday, sympathy, empathy lay with the protesters and Gen Z, with what the protest was all about. The Gen Z, in a very detailed statement, how do you put a banner on Gen Z, but the groups that were attached to this protest have pulled back. They are saying not in our name. What's happening right now in Nepal is wrong. It's violence, it's anarchy, it's sinister, and it's mob frenzy. Do you agree of what is taking place, where political leaders are being attacked, their wives have been burnt to death, political institutions have come under fire? What's really going on right now?
Well, see, if we look at the history of all the countries where youths have come together to stand for a cause and to go against a cause, we are not just speaking for this generation. No, I completely understand. I agree with you that it is a violent approach, yes, but we also have to understand, look into Nepal's history and see how much they have suffered and how much they had to endure to say enough is enough now. And frankly, we have had many peaceful processes in the past. We tried to talk to our leaders, we tried to make them aware of what was going on. There is a massive manpower drain we have faced. But so amidst all this chaos, now the youths have said, we want to take things in our hands. I understand.
Taking things in your hand is all right, Nisha, but what is happening on the streets is much more than just the protest. So somebody has to tell these protesters that it has to end. The Prime Minister has resigned, the President has resigned, the protesters are saying that they have nothing to do with these protests. Then are you then saying that whosoever is in charge of Nepal right now, or whosoever is indulging in this violence, has some other vested interest?
Well, we will see in couple of in coming days. That I cannot guarantee. I cannot speak for them right now. But I was coming to the point. You didn't let me finish prior. So yeah, this is completely wrong. This is very violent. We completely agree. But I was just giving you the root cause and how it started off with Gen
Fair
Z's
point.
protest. There have been absolutely infiltrations, but as you see, the mass is completely all of them are Nepalese and all of them are youths, doing this. And we have requested them to take it slower, take it in a more peaceful way. So yeah, we have requested them, but let's see how
Nishadikari, let's ask you one question. Now, for somebody, clearly you do feel a certain amount of empathy with the people who are protesting right now. Who is it that they want? And who is spearheading this protest? Because one is given to believe it's organic. So what are the demands?
So this has started with a complete narration against corruption, years and decades long of corruption that we've been facing on through multiple generations now, since the democracy has been established in Nepal. So now with this, the youths are coming together, and the narration still is that we want corruption out of our country, and we want new leaders. We want people who are we want a directly elected prime minister. We want to make sure that we choose our leaders. Yeah, so those are the demands basically. So
Preeti is joining us. She is in fact stranded at Kathmandu airport. Preeti, give us a sense of where you are and what are you seeing?
Exactly.
Preeti, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so give us a sense of where you are and what are you seeing?
I'm in the departure terminal of the international airport at Nepal. We've been here since 11 in the morning. It's now
Quarter to 7.
quarter to 7. At 1 o'clock, they said that the airport is shut down. Indigo, we are about 5 plane loads of Indians, Air India and Indigo passengers. And we were just told around 2 o'clock that 1 o'clock the airport shut down. They said that all of you should go back, take your luggage and just go down. Like your flights are cancelled and just leave. So most of us have refused to leave because once we're outside, there are like plumes of smoke and there's the army. They're saying that the army's outside, but there's lots of tear gas, lots of children outside. They've killed lots of children today. So, I mean, I say that there's school students and college students, I guess. But the airline has just abandoned us. So we're just sitting here. We don't know whether we can go out. There are no flights. They said that there are no flights landing. However, we saw helicopters taking off. So maybe there are people.
All operations, Pritha, I think, Preeti, you've been told that all flight operations at the Kathmandu airport right now have been cancelled. It's not, no flights are taking off or landing.
From Tribhuvan International Airport.
Yeah. So, have you been given any other information in terms of when are you, when are flight operations resuming? I assume you're flying back to India.
No. Yeah, but there's nobody here. We've been trying to contact the embassy. The Air India and Indigo staff has just abandoned us completely. They're like, please just take your baggage and leave.
So we have asked, sorry, my name is Pankaj. We've been asked that to go and collect your luggage and leave the airport. And after leaving the airport, they are not providing us any security to go to any hotel or any safe place. Now, my question is, in an international airport, you telling me that there's not a single room, a security room, that if mobs like this come in and attack the airport, they cannot secure us?
Yeah, they said that we're not taking any responsibility. You should leave because people can come in and attack you. So we're just like, we don't know what to do.
And at one stage, we were even told, like, if you're leaving now, we're asking you nicely. Otherwise, later on, you could be pushed out. And basically, things are being burning outside. Yeah. And once you clear, at the moment, we have cleared immigration. We got the boarding cards. We're literally sitting on the boarding gates. So technically, we're not in a no man's land. If we go out, basically, we are on our own. and there is no responsibility being shown from the airlines, Indigo and
That's
Air
the
India both.
report that is coming in from Kathmandu's Tribhuvan International Airport, where flights have been suspended temporarily due to security concerns amidst fear of escalation. Pritha is joining us, and she is one of the protesters. Pritha, the question that Preeti and I have been asking all the protesters is that what's happening in the name of protest?
I think things have escalated in a very violent way because yesterday, when we started the protest, it was more with a peaceful intent to protest about the corrupt government, the ban of social media, right? But today, things have escalated very violently all over the city. Like, we have attacked the parliament. We have burned down the administrative buildings in the city. There is a lot of violence everywhere in the city, you know. So I'm in shock. There is smoke all over Kathmandu. Private properties are being burned. Public spaces are being burned. There is fire all over. So yeah,
Pritha,
the
I want
things
to ask you
escalated in a,
something.
yes.
Because there was a, there was a statement that has been issued by many protesters like you that whatever is happening should not be linked to them. This is not what you wanted. Is that true? Have many of you who were on the streets yesterday completely pulled away from the streets right now? You don't want your name to be attached to what you're witnessing on the streets. Is that correct?
Yes, I feel like there has been some kind of external intervention or interference in so many ways because yesterday you could see that 20 people, 20 young kids and students were also killed, right? So today suddenly like things have taken a turn in a very hostile way. So I myself am processing what all is happening, the uncertainty that is around because our KPOL has signed down, the government is toppled now. We have attacked Sher Bahadur Dewada, leading the president of Nepali Congress, right? So there is a lot of uncertainty because we don't know what is going to happen next. The president has stepped down from power, but he has not addressed the nation. So who is going to be in charge now? What is going to
But
happen
Pritha,
next? There is a lot
when
of
these
yes,
protests started, there
yes,
were street unrest. But I'm sure there
yes.
was this objective also with which you wanted. You wanted the government to be removed, to be unseated, which has happened. So is there a name that is there in the minds of protesters as to who should be charge of this interim government?
Yes, there is actually. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the mayor of Kathmandu, Mr. Balinsha, as well as Mr. Rabi Lami Thane. He was a candidate. He
Yes.
was actually just behind the bars, and now he's set free. And he's also kind of addressing the public in the way. And I think this is not what I signed up for because personally, I don't endorse Rabi Lami Thane. He's a very controversial figure, right?
Are you,
So.
the mayor of Kathmandu, are many of you who joined organically in this protest actually supporting that name, or is that name coming in from the people out on the streets right now?
I think Balin has been an inspirational youth leader, definitely, because we have been disappointed by our leaders a lot. So Balin Shah has been a voice for the youth and a voice for a positive change. So I understand why the mass is looking up to him. But having said that, there still is a lot of uncertainty because the government has toppled down, the cabinet has been dissolved, right? So there is a lot of things at stake here now. How are we going to move forward? What is written constitutionally? Are we going to follow the constitution, or is there going to be some other kind of interference? So yeah.
Right. Pritha, just one quick question and we'll go to Gopal Jha. Is there uncertainty and apprehension that what's happening in Nepal, could follow with what happened in Bangladesh just a few months ago or with Sri Lanka a year and a half ago?
Yes, I think because every global politics does have a domino effect, and the entire movement actually is started through social media, you know. So there is a lot of similarities that we can see. But having said that, our leadership has always been corrupt, and we have had external interference. Like, you know how our royal family was assassinated, and we have gone through various political landscape, you know. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, Pritha, thank you for joining us. Gopal
Thank
Jha
you.
continues to be with us. Gopal Jha, we are being told now that the army in charge, the general, will be addressing a press conference, or will there be some kind of address to the nation? And what kind of support does the army have in Nepal right now?
The army is the only institution in Nepal, which is away from any kind of controversy so far. So I still feel like any statement coming from the army or chief of army would at least try to address the present situation and calm down the anger that is manifested in Kathmandu from the Generation G side. So I believe that I don't know like what he's going to say, but at least I would expect something like he would try to address the nation and he would try to find out the solution within the framework of this political system only, not beyond that.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Gopal Jha. We're going to continue to come back to you for the latest updates coming in. Viewers, things clearly escalating out of hand where Nepal is concerned. We're going to keep a keen eye on developments as they take place. Right now, very, very disconcerting news with political figures, their spouses being attacked. The news of the former Prime Minister's wife being set on fire and burned to death is astounding. This is what it's come down to. Complete anarchy gripping the streets of Nepal.